Hello everyone and welcome back to another troubleshooting video. Here we have again the exact same model that we had last time of a Radeon R9 290X. Again the DirectCUII model from Asus, but as you can see this one's missing the gold accents that we had on the last one. And yeah, this one is, well, the description of this card is no image, so basically it turns on, but you're not getting an image on the display. Now, with the track record of eBay sellers having described two Asus cards to me the same way, and those two Asus cards turned out to have a crater in the PCB, I'm not too sure if I would have to trust that. But yeah, that's what the listing says, but of course we're going to diagnose the problem ourselves and confirm what we have here. I really hope this doesn't have a crater in it, because that's just gonna be the same repair as last time. So yeah, anyway, let's take the card apart. Card looks slightly better. The backplate on the last one was a little bit scratched. This one isn't as dusty. But yeah, let's take the card apart. Okay, we have all of these, so it's not a super easy repair. I've had that one of these was just knocked off and the card wouldn't get detected because of that. Put the cap back on, card works. The one thing that I'm kind of hoping here for is basically the same thing that happened on the 760, the second 760, where just like, oh, there's a dead minor rail. This thing got repasted. Okay, we've got a PETA VRAM again. BBBG again. Yeah, PCB looks pretty clean. Heatsink is a lot less disgusting than the last one. Core looks okay. Alright, let's take off our VRM heatsink and the back plate and look at the card. Once we're done with that, we're gonna do our resistance checks, and if that all checks out, we can turn the card on and see what it does. Oh, these screws are also small, okay. Oh, that's off already. Just, wow, these are really tight. Great, we don't have a crater. Very nice. I was fearing that we would have another crater here, but we don't. That's great. Okay. Yep, VRM looks good. Let's take a closer look at the PCB itself. Number 156. Is that the BIOS chip? Windbound usually means BIOS chip. And it looks good. That's gonna be your 5-volt low dropout regulator. That's our VDDCI VRM BIOS switch. Memory VRM, memory VRM controller, vCore VRM. That's probably our variable gate drive for the power stages. vCore VRM controller, what's that red bit? Is that a damaged trace? It looks like a damaged trace. Huh. Everything here looks mostly fine. Back capacitors also. Here's the other BIOS chip, since we have a dual BIOS. Stuff directly behind the core looks good as well. Okay. This card looks to be in a very good condition physically. At least visually, not physically. So let's do our resistance checks. So, first check, we go into diode mode and we check our power inputs. We have 4 power inputs on this card. We have 12 volts from the left of the PCI Express slot, 3.3 volts from the 4th pin on the right of the PCI Express slot, and then we have 2 12-volt inputs on each of those one 12-volt input here, one 12 input here. So let's first check if we have an obvious short circuit somewhere. So I'm gonna check 12-volt PCIe. That one's good. 3.3-volt PCIe, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good. On these connectors, you can see they are flipped, so the notch is on the back of the card. Usually it's on the front. What this means is that the exposed pins here are 12 volts. They are not ground as they would be normally, so we can't just do this. That one's also good. And this one's also good. Okay, we have no short circuits. Now let's go into resistance mode and we're gonna check the resistance of our outputs. Let's just go on the back of the card for that. We have through-hole inductors, that makes it pretty easy. At least for the memory and vCore. So memory resistance, 180 ohms. That looks normal. Core resistance, 3.7 ohms, looks normal. VDDCI resistance, that also looks normal. What I suspect is variable gate drive. I never confirmed that, but it's high enough to not be any problem, and then our 5-volt LDO. So the middle pin is probably ground. Yep. Let's just check which one's 12 volts. Yeah, this one's 12 volts, so the left pin is the output, and that one has a high enough resistance to not be a problem. Okay, this down here I forgot, that's the PAX rail, probably. And that also looks good. Okay, we have resistances that check out. So basically now we can turn the card on. And what we can find now, just to kind of like prepare your mindset on what we might find, is either, so there's 3 options. First one is the card will turn on, but it will artifact or just crash when I try to install the drivers. That's probably pointing towards a dead memory module or a problem with the memory controller in the GPU die. That's a problem that I can't fix right now. I want to learn how to swap memory modules in the future. I cannot do it right now, but I want to learn that later. Swapping cores, so if it's a memory controller problem, that will turn the card into a no fix, because swapping cores, you might as well just get another card. The second thing is that the card doesn't fully turn on because one of our VRMs might not be powering on. So there's a set power sequence on this card. I don't specifically remember what it is, but one power rail turns on after another. And at some point there might be a transistor somewhere or a resistor that's damaged, and our enable signal might not get sent along to the next power rail, and therefore the next power rail does not turn on. We then have to check that power rail that's not turning on to see if does it get the enable signal, or does the controller get its power, and then all that stuff. We'll get to that if we have that problem. And the third option is that this card was sold as defective because of user error, and the card is actually completely fine. This is not the first time this has happened, nor will it be the last. It would make for a very anticlimactic video if the card would just be fine. But at least you see another display of the troubleshooting, basic troubleshooting resistance measurement short finding procedure. So yeah, let's try to turn the card on. Card's installed into my system. As you can see, I do not have my usual test bench set up right now. That's because I tested something on LGA 775, and for the purposes of this video, we don't have to replace the motherboard. Also, we get to see the nice postcode right here, which my usual test bench motherboard doesn't have. So I'm just gonna take this NVIDIA GPU IHS, put it on here, turn the card on. Should probably turn the power supply on first. And I feel the core getting hot. That's a good sign that our though it's not a good sign, it's proof that our vCore VRM works. It's getting very hot now. This turn, yep. Okay, so our card puts out a picture. So we quite easily just confirm that all our power rails are working. So the scenario where a power rail enable signal or something like that does not get passed along, that scenario is now ruled out. Now we have, well, sadly only scenarios that don't make for a very exciting video. Either we have a problem that I can't fix, or the card is just completely fine and there will be no fix necessary. So, yeah, or maybe there's something I missed, and I have to do more further investigating. I'll be putting the heatsink back onto the card, and we're gonna try what it does in Windows. So, I've reassembled the card, and did some tests on it, and sadly, as you're going to see, it's already taking its time today. There we go. This is everything that you get. So, yeah, pretty much the worst case scenario panned out. It's not something that I can fix. And I guess it's great, yeah. Yeah, you just get a blank screen. The backlight is on, but you just get a blank screen. And PC just rebooted itself. So yeah, card's not working. My diagnosis for this card is it has a partially faulty memory module or a problem with the IMC, which is the integrated memory controller. And there's Windows again. Like, save mode still works and everything. It looks fine, like you can't see any artifacts here. You can see one thing that you can only see in the BIOS, and I'll show that to you after I show that save mode works. But basically what I think is happening here is that probably, I think the most likely scenario is there's a memory module here, and that memory module is just very slightly faulty. So it doesn't generate a lot of errors, but it generates enough errors so that the card cannot run with its save mode. So you see it works mostly fine, but yeah, if we now go into BIOS, you're gonna see a little bit, because you're going to see a little bit of artifacting. And I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, so you see those lines and also this up here. That doesn't appear on other cards. So I'm pretty sure that this is minor artifacting caused by what I suspect to be a faulty memory module. Like, it's not a lot, it's just a little bit, but it's still enough to crash the card once the driver tries to load. Which brings us to, well, why I can't really do anything here. I cannot swap memory modules, I do not have the experience, I do not have the tools. I do in fact have an entire box of graphics cards that have this exact issue that I cannot fix right now, that I do want to fix later, but not in the near future. And this card is gonna be going into that box. So yeah. Not exactly happy with this. Well, it's a legit diagnosis, and it's not that I could have done anything better here. The card just has this issue, and I can't really fix that right now. The thing that I'm not really a fan of is how, again, the eBay seller's description was wrong. So this is the third card now. I think I just need to stop buying Asus cards, because so far only these 3 Asus cards that I've bought, which is this, the other 290X, and the 780 Ti Matrix that you haven't seen yet on video, because that one is well, it is something that I can fix, but I need a specific tool for that, which I don't have right now. So that one might still work out in the closer-ish future. But anyway, these 3 Asus cards that I bought were all described as not detected, no image. While it gets detected and it's showing an image, it's just not installing the drivers, which, yeah, technically once you install the drivers there's no image, but like, when people say no image, I see it as no image at all. When you get no image after you install the driver, that's because your card crashed. Or, like, well, maybe not literally crashed, but essentially it crashed because you have an instability somewhere in the system. So that's basically the one thing why I'm upset, because I paid way too much money for this card. So yeah, basically the seller got one over on me. It's not that I got scammed or anything. You buy something bad on eBay, it's always a gamble. It's just that I would have liked if people were more honest with their descriptions. Because I was hoping that this would be like a dead minor rail, or a knocked off PCI Express bypass capacitor, or a minor short circuit somewhere, or maybe a major short circuit, but well, this one doesn't have fuses, but if it had fuses, maybe short circuit there somewhere. Because those are things that are fixable, that I can fix. That I can't fix. Not right now. So this one's going into the pile, which yeah, makes for a very anticlimactic video. It's not a repair, it's just a diagnosis, and the diagnosis is, as it has been in the past before, probably a faulty memory chip. There's a small chance it is the memory controller. And also I should say, it's not always the chip itself. Sometimes it's also just a solder BGA issue. But just to stay safe, you usually want to replace the chip too. Unless when it's under the core. Then the card's just straight up a no fix. Because that's not worth attempting. If you're gonna swap a core, you might as well get a new card. But anyway, before this rant goes on for too long. Yeah, thank you for watching. I hope at least some part of the video helped you. I guess the one thing you could take away from this video is that cards with faulty memory, like with memory problems, don't always like artifact. they can be like this, where it could be many issues, but once you really think about it, well, it actually could be many issues. But just from having done this myself a fair amount of times now, and also watching other people do this, judging by the symptoms, this is gonna be a memory problem. So, yeah. Just maybe I contribute to your part of watching other people do things. So anyway, video is still gonna go up. I'm not particularly proud of. Well, the first part went really well. Then once I tested the card, this video went downhill. Anyway, it's still gonna go up because I hope there's always gonna be one person that can learn a little bit from this. So, yeah. I was supposed to stop 2 minutes ago. I'm doing that now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye. So, I'm gonna do one last check on the card, and that's a check I haven't done yet. I've looked up the PEX reset and reference clock plus and minus pins on the PCI Express pinout, and I'm also gonna be checking some data lanes here. And basically why I'm doing that is that I want to confirm that our core is either good or dead. Because if you read a short or unusually low resistance on any of those lines, that's basically 99.9% that it's a dead core. Actually, it might actually be 100% a dead core. At least if basically your reference clock and PEX reset pins are short, the card can no longer function. If you have a low resistance on data lanes, I think the card also can't function anymore, but I'm not so sure about that one. So basically, they already have to see the multimeter for this, because I'm just gonna putting it in diode mode. So if we have a short, you're gonna get a beep like that. So yeah, we've just test. Yep, we get a beep if we touch ground. So we've already measured the 12 volts and 3.3 volts rails here. What we haven't measured yet is the data lanes. So you can see these ones, those are the data lanes. So you have 2 pins. So this is the first one, this one's good. Oh, this one. That one's also good. That one right next is probably ground. But the 2 data pairs here are good. So you measure the first data pair and then you just go to a random one. You can see here the traces coming into it. So these are also good. Yeah. Okay, so the data lanes are good. And now we go to the back of the PCI Express slot. This again. This one doesn't have that great of a connection this time. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to measure this pin. It's the very last pin. That's the PEX reset pin. That one's also good. We don't even get a voltage measurement. Do we get a resistance measurement? No. So the resistance is like really, really high on this one, which is good. That's exactly what I want to see. And then the reference clock plus and minus pins are the second and third pin. That one's good. That one's also good. Okay, so our core is probably good. Let's just check one more time, because the ground probe was in a bit of a weird spot here. It's just manually do this recheck. Now PEX reset is good. And reference clock plus and minus are also good. Okay, so at least we probably don't have a dead. The core can still be dead, but the checks that we've just done check out. If we had found a short somewhere here, that would have been a dead core. Yeah, so all the checks are good, which, well, it leads me to believe that this card has probably just a faulty memory module somewhere. And I need to download the AMD testing suite, find the faulty memory module, replace it, and then the card works again. But as I've stated previously, swapping memory modules, first off, I don't have the memory suite, testing suite downloaded for AMD because it's a very, very large download that would literally take me 2 days. And since I'm about to move anyway to a place that has better internet, I'm just waiting until I do that. And then swapping memory modules is also something that I cannot do right now because I am lacking some experience and tools to do that properly. So yeah, this card basically will go into the box of repairable, yet I can't do it properly right now, graphics cards. Quite a lot of cards with memory issues in there. There's just one with a short circuit in there because I need a specific drummer tool to fix that one. Every other card... Actually, that's a lie. I still have the RX 570 that I messed up. But yeah, basically all the cards I have in that box have memory issues, and this one's gonna join them. Kinda sad, I was really hoping that this would work out, but yeah, that's the gamble when you buy dead graphics cards on eBay. Sellers might not always be right or honest with what their cards do. This one wasn't. This one was described as something completely different from what it actually is. So sadly it ended up being a thing that I cannot fix right now. I can diagnose it, but I cannot fix that right now. So anyway, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, goodbye.